Hi everyone, my name is Serena. Welcome back to my channel if you're new here. I usually upload bookish videos. There are gonna be a ton of bookish videos in December. But last night I watched Mulan, the 2020 version, and right after I watched the 1998 one, you know, the cartoon, and I just really wanted to talk about it. And if you've watched these movies and want to, you know, talk about them with me, comment down below. I'd love to talk about it. First of all, before I say anything else, I want to say that if you're here to learn about the representation, if it's accurate or not, I am not the one to educate you on that because I am not Chinese, clearly. I have no idea if it's accurate for what concerns, you know, traditions, you know, the costumes, I don't know, and all that, and especially the new movie, the Chai magic aspect. And you know, portrayal of Chinese people in general, I have no idea if it's accurate. I've heard that some parts are really not, but as I said, I'm not the one to educate you on that. I'm pretty sure all of us are not educated on every single culture and traditions in the world. Like, I know about Italian culture, and I'm also American. That's it. I really want to learn more about other cultures, but it's just impossible to know every single thing. Every single person doesn't know every single thing about this world, about all of the cultures. I always try my best to educate myself on these things, but I really am not going to talk about that because I am no position to do so. But anyways, I watched this movie last night for the first time with my cousin. She never watched Mulan ever, and I just had to watch the cartoon afterwards with her because she needed to see that. Mulan is my favorite Disney princess. I mean, she's not really a princess, but she is my favorite because she was, as a kid, I always felt that she was different from the others. I mean, she is, because she's not a princess per se. She doesn't have all those poofy dresses. She's never like saved by a man. She is a warrior, and she, you know, I always loved her, and it was always my favorite. And I was excited for the live action, but at the same time I had very low expectations, like for every single remake. I always have low expectations, and for that reason I'm not disappointed afterwards. So if you're here because you're curious to know if I hated this movie, the answer is no. I did not hate it, but it also is not my favorite remake at all. I think my favorite Disney remake so far is Aladdin. I think that one was a good one. But this Mulan is nowhere near the cartoon one, the original one. Nowhere near. And nothing will be, honestly, because it really is one of my faves. Aspects of the 1998 movies that I really, really loved is that it's not a serious movie like the 2020 one is, if you know what I mean, because it's a children's movie. It is about war. It is about, you know, conflict and people dying. I mean, we see those scenes in which the bad guys kill villages, burn down villages. I mean, there are a lot of dark aspects in that version, but there are also light parts, you know, funny parts, because it is a children's movie, and I think those are great aspects of the movie. I mean, I think Mushu is, like, apart from Mulan, my favorite character, and you cannot take Mushu away. In this version, there was this phoenix that we see flying around behind her when she was fighting and all that, and it's just not the same. It's just not Eddie Murphy playing Mushu, and the cricket, you know, the lucky cricket and the horse, that trio dynamic was so fun. And I know they wanted to do something more serious, maybe, you know, there was no Mushu. There was also no Li Shang, and I was like, no Li Shang, why? There was this other character that was her let's say, friend in the army. And it was cute, but that romance in the 1998 movie was so much better. In the 2020 version, they wanted to make it all about girl power, and we see that with the witch character. I don't remember, Xianyan, maybe? They wanted to really highlight that feminist aspect of Mulan, but the romance was different. I really like in the cartoon that Mulan really likes him, and vice versa at the end. In the 2020 version, we see, I don't remember his name, but he goes to her and says, "Are you not gonna say goodbye?" And she's like, "Goodbye." And he's like, "Okay, see ya." And she's like, "See ya." It was awkward. And in the cartoon, at the end, Li Shang, Mulan asks him if he wants to stay for dinner, and then there's the grandma that says, "Do you want to stay forever?" That was hilarious. I love the grandma. She wasn't in this one, in this new movie either. There was a sister instead. And for what concerns other characters, like the other men in the army, those were funny characters as well. Like, let me just search their names. Qian Po, Yao, Ling, they're all funny characters that in the last scene when they're saving the emperor, they dress up as women, and I found that aspect so great. Like, Mulan dressed as a man, and now they are dressing as women. You know, I just love that part. And then they're funny, they're fun. So it's just a really good balance between serious topics like sexism and war, and on the other aspect, you know, fun, lighthearted, music, you know. So that is what really makes the cartoon so much superior than this movie. Another thing that I want to talk about is the music. I think that the other live action remakes are musicals as well. And I mean, Aladdin, I remember, was a musical. Beauty and the Beast, yes. And some others. Lion King, there were musicals. And I believe that these movies have so much more impact because there are these songs. Reflection, Be a Man, these are all important parts of the story. These are songs that if you took them out of the movie wouldn't be the same. So I knew they weren't going to make a musical, but I really wish they did. Let's talk about this witch character. So they took out Mushu and Li Shang and the cricket and everything, but there's this new character, the witch, that is basically the bad guy's bird that we see in the cartoon. But in this movie, she is personified, so it's a witch that transforms herself in a bird. And she is like the main villain instead of the other one. In the cartoon, he wasn't like a well thought villain. Like, if you compare him to Ursula or other villains, he was just there, but he was really scary. I remember being scared of him. Anyways, we have this other character who is like the main villain. And this is gonna be a spoiler because it's not in the original movie. So spoilers. I didn't feel anything when she died at the end because yes, we have that, you know, girl power conversation moment between Mulan and her. But it felt so random that after 1-2 conversations, she sacrificed herself for her. So that was really like random. I didn't feel anything when she died, but I liked where they were going with that. You know, as I said, they really wanted to highlight the feminist aspect of Mulan, the story of Mulan. I also want to say, speaking of this chai magic, I think it's called that way, something that I wasn't a big fan of is that Mulan in the 2020 version felt like she had superpowers. And in the original, she wins and defeats the bad guy, and she saves the emperor through hard work and determination. In the cartoon, it doesn't feel like she has powers, you know? So speaking of the powers, the fight scenes seemed very unrealistic, and you could tell a lot of the parts were made with CGI, and most of the movies nowadays are made with CGI, but I just don't like when it's very evident. But overall, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was visually pleasing, so that's a plus. Overall, the cartoon is better. Nothing can beat that version. And for what concerns the 2020 version of Mulan, I am not disappointed, but I'm also not a fan. It was okay. I'm just really glad that this movie may introduce the story of Mulan to kids that didn't grow up with this story, and I wish that they'd go back and watch the cartoon now that there is this new version out. So these are my thoughts. What did you think about this movie? Let me know down below if you liked it. What are your thoughts? And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!